Shirley. Lucille Lee, that's right.
Shirley. Shirley had won before.
That was 1982. And we're back with the Baco Motorsports Hour.
Yeah.
I'm Mike Griffith with Blake
Going
Bowser.
over our history out there.
And going over the history because history was made
repeated
itself.
Well, kind of. Yeah.
Kind of at the March meet, which we've got to say, reiterated, started on, well, basically testing started
Tuesday.
last.
Yeah,
Cars
Saturday.
came in Tuesday.
Yes.
You had testing Wednesday. And then testing and qualifying
on
Thursday.
Yeah.
And then the race started in earnest with all the field cars on Friday. And oil downs on Friday.
Yeah.
And then massive crowds on Saturday. And then Sunday morning it rained.
A little late start.
But
I give the fans credit, man. They were coming in the gates at 7, 8, 9, 10 a.m., coming in. So I think they've gained confidence that we are going to get that track ready. And you know what? I want to throw a shout out to Kern County Raceway. They were actually going to run back and get their big track blower. They've kind of made one of their own.
Right, they've made their own
kind of thing.
They've made the Bakersfield version of an Air Titan.
Exactly. Yeah.
Which is all the pipes and a big compressor and the generator to run it.
Blows water out of the way.
And it blows water, and they've got that.
Yeah.
And so
I'm pretty sure they were en route getting it, but they found out that our jet dryer
they were trying to get it,
so.
And then they saw how quickly it was dry, and then Alex was out there.
Another shout out. Sears Point Raceway loaned us their jet for the weekend.
So the cooperation and maybe the race.
It's just fun to come together
get a little
like that.
equipment, and then be able to, on big weekends, have a multitude of
have an
arsenal of weapons to fight Mother Nature.
We're all trying to do the same thing. We're all trying to entertain those fans right there and pull off a good race. And if we can all pitch in and help somehow, we're all on board.
And once again, just amazed at the size of the crowd out there on Saturday. What a good crowd. And the other side was packed too.
Might be time to add some bleachers.
Yeah, it might be.
I've talked to somebody about that.
and a big win by Mindy Fry. Let's go ahead and show the Top Fuel final. The picture of Mindy there before the Top Fuel final. She was getting ready to put her gloves on when I took that shot there.
Yeah.
And go ahead, if you will, Chris, and show the Top Fuel final. We got a video of that.
Yeah, it was supposed to be Mindy and Jim Murphy.
Whoop, that's funny car final there.
And that one
wrong button there.
In pretty hot fashion.
Yeah, they didn't show up labeled when he redid this.
Yeah, there's Mindy doing a burnout. Then there's Jim. What I heard, I think the throttle stopped. They put it on. I think it flew off during the burnout, so he hit the throttle and went all the way to the floor, and he hurt the motor pretty bad. So
broke the fuel pump drive shaft, sheared off. So Mindy was on a single ran a. Look at this number here on a single.
And she basically could have just aisled down the track. In fact, your article on Tuesday said she could have just cruised down the track.
She could have cruised down the track.
She went ahead and ran it
out.
That's pretty cool.
She said she was sitting there and she wants to go, so she goes. Yeah. And Tom Shearer, the car owner, goes,
"Run it out."
Run it out, and she ran it out. I think she waited for the green, and I understood in the pits afterward. Tom was saying, "You should have gone." Because you also use it by waiting for the green. I mean, she didn't have a good reaction time because she didn't want a red light.
She knew she had no opponent.
But she had no opponent. But so she didn't get a good practice on leaving.
Yeah, the only way you could disqualify yourself is not letting the green light come on.
Yeah,
you could do once the green light comes on. Your win light. You could do anything you want at that point. I mean, I'm not to say it could happen, but you could hit the wall.
So
you could.
She
whatever.
waited for the green. So not the world's best reaction time, but it did not matter.
At that point, right there, she had the win.
Yeah, and this was from a shot earlier. I think that was on her 5:59 run earlier in the week that Tom shot that. And so go ahead and roll through a few slides here of the Top Fuel cars. I think we've got a couple. That was Jim Murphy.
That's Jim, yeah.
And talk to him afterwards. And shout out to Jim. Keep it on that slide for a second.
Yeah.
I was in the tower, I think, on Friday or Saturday. It just happened to be Jim walked up.
Yeah.
And the first thing he says is, "Hey, Mike, I like that Power Hour show."
Okay, good.
So there you go. Jim Murphy
yeah.
watches up there. And then afterwards, after the races, he says, "Looks like I'm going to have to race another year."
Yeah.
Looking for his 5th win. So,
yeah.
So tough deal there.
That would have been good either way. I mean, Mindy had a great weekend, but Jim would have liked to get his 5th certainly. But then Mr. Bartone showed up.
Mr. Bartone showed up in first round. Mindy ran a 5:59.
Yeah.
To beat Tony, who switched lanes. His car he double clutched.
He double clutched it and
came off the line, and the car pulled to the left, and she was so far out in front. He just went around the cone very deftly and moved into the left lane.
Saved us some money there. Appreciate that.
So that was a good piece of driving because he just says,
So Tony was our #1 qualifier, at least, so he got that. And
Adam Sorokin with the small block Chevy.
That little car's keeping up.
4.
You know, it's hard for them. Like I said, it's a small block. It's hard for them to keep up.
It runs out of gas about 1,000 feet.
It runs out of guts, and
actually
gas
probably
and
about
everything,
800
so.
feet. Its tongue's hanging out.
Yes.
And then we had the funny cars here. We had Ryan Hodgkins come down from Edmonton.
Up in Canada,
Edmonton,
yeah,
so they get down here. Go ahead and show that funny car video. And
take a look at that car now.
Take a look at the car, the next one there. Take a look at that car.
Yeah.
And then go ahead and show the video here, if you will, Chris. The funny car final video, the one that you started out.
Burnouts.
The burnouts. And what's happening here is a lot of people, you can just see how bad the Chris Crable's car is running there.
Yeah, it kind of fell over half track, 1,000 feet.
And then we'll see here.
It got pretty ugly. Yeah. So.
Yeah, if you actually slowed that video down and looked, I could actually see right past 1,000 feet. You can see flames coming out from a little bit underneath the car.
Yeah, interesting because there was nothing on the track until we have a short shoot. We call it short shoots, maybe 100, 200 feet past the finish line where our first crew comes out. That's where the oil started falling out. So it was burning off at that point, starting to burn the oil. And then as he slows down, it just starts to come out a lot more. And then everything lights up.
You can go on Facebook and find out, but there's some just pretty impressive photos of that car on fire down at the top end.
There is.
Ewald's We Did It for Love. They had a lot of photographers there, and they showed it. And there's flames on both sides. And I think I've got a picture of the side of the body afterwards.
Yep.
Yeah, that used to be a nicely painted carbon fiber body.
Yeah.
It's now, junk.
I'm not sure if they can actually
I'm not
use
sure.
that body
You have to
again.
see how much that's a lot.
It wasn't distorted by any way that I could look at.
But I'm not an expert into how much damage heat does to carbon fiber. It's probably not a good thing. And that was a brand new body.
Brand new chassis. Brand new
chassis, brand new body.
Actually, the Saturday before, they ran that car for the first time ever down the track. So, and that's why we have a fire crew on site at every one of our races. Monday morning finishing up, we're just going to finish up, run a couple of nitro finals. We had 2 full fire crews on site, fully suited, ready to go, and that's why we do it right there.
And the fact is, when I talked to Ryan afterwards, we'll hold that slide for a second because I want to talk about Dan too. But when I talked to Ryan afterwards, he said he didn't see him coming
he knew something
by,
was going on.
And he got out and he looked back. So he got out and started running there to help his buddy.
Yeah.
And the fire crew was already there. And
one of ours pulled out, and another one chased him down. So we had 2 trucks pull up on site.
Watching from the top end, when I knew Chris was okay, I saw the ambulance pull out, back up. I saw the ambulance come away.
Yeah.
And I said, I knew then that the driver was okay.
Yeah, he needed a little bit of air. I mean, he inhaled quite a bit of black smoke, and we had a couple of singes on his fire suit, where your gloves, your knees, and your bottom, that's most exposed because that's sticking up out, and your bottom's on the seat. It gets pretty hot, so. Fire suit took some little hits, some gloves, but that's what they're there for. Those are 20-layer Nomex for that purpose right there.
And then Dan Horan there, he was racing with a heavy heart. His dad, Dan Horan Sr., passed away in November. And they've always that's how Dan got into it.
Yeah, and he was kind of up and down all winter. I'm going to the race, not going to the race, going to the race. And finally, his crew chief called basically about a week and a half before the race. Okay, we're coming.
And he lost in the semifinals. 567 to Ryan, and Dan was late on the lights, and that was all the difference in that race. So,
but they had a good weekend though. Hopefully that got him back in the. Now that's the car right there for the weekend.
That's the car. There it is. Mike McIntyre, who called in from Ohio last week on the show, before he came out and ran a 5:54.
Yeah.
And then he backed it up the next day. I think.
Yes, he did.
2 days
57,
later,
I think
with a 5:57. So now that's the record. 5:54.
Yeah.
With a 9, I think.
Yeah.
But the problem with Mike they run 550s or they ran 580s.
Right.
And when you're running 580s in eliminations at the March meet, you're not winning unless the other guy messes up.
You're not advancing. Yeah, exactly.
So he lost.
And the elevation kept changing all weekend. It would be, I think at one point someone said, "How do we tune a car when it's below?" It was, below. It was just below sea level.
Yeah, the air was so good, and they're used to running the IHRA events last year when it heat and humidity. Right. So. But they loved it out here.
But they had a great weekend.
They had a great weekend.
Yeah.
Go ahead and show some more slides, Chris. We get through here. This is the Tramp car. Brian Hall.
Fuel altered winner.
Won the Fuel Altered.
Yeah.
And Fuel Altered is a great thing there.
Yeah.
Why don't you show that Fuel Altered final if you can real fast, Chris?
We're just getting a little more Fuel Altereds coming out. So we're starting to see, a lot more guys playing.
Yeah, and you get the old school and the new school and the fuel altereds, and they come out and play in the 6.0 index, and that was him winning there. Go ahead and run through these slides here a bit, Chris, and just to give you a variety of the fuel altered cars.
Yeah.
Dan Hicks has a lot of local support here. Lost first round. Rear engine top fuel dragster. Mike
starting to see more of those. Mike Halstead driving
out of Lancaster.
Mike's transmission car.
He won that. Just leave it on this slide for a sec. Yeah. This is the only local that made it to the final rounds. It's Josh Wagner out of Wasco. Races a lot of ANRA.
Yes.
His dad Butch his grandfather. Butch runs ANRA. This is a 72 Maverick, and
they got runner up.
He got runner up. 7 rounds of competition. Almost 120 hot rod. And this is a guy out of Bakersfield too, I think. In this,
Paul Miller.
Paul Miller, because Louis Amistoy, who started this show 4 years ago, loves these VWs. So I threw that slide in there for that. So we ran through there. This was all the announcers were talking about this A-gas Chevy Love truck.
Right.
So just a lot of bizarre stuff. You see, and that's the beauty of it.
This is the beauty of coming
Keith
out there.
Moravich of Bakersfield in a carbureted A-gas. And then we have Brandon Fry in the blown A-gas. Both of those guys lost second round. And usually they were in the finals of the Hot Rod Reunion. Just shows the competition there, and a whole variety of cars that you'll see at the March meet, which I think draws the fans. This is the type of stuff you'll see go down the track.
Here, Jeff Kleeman, that previous
all
shot,
day long.
So, and you want to go. And of course, Ed Jones.
And Tom likes this.
I'm glad he stayed away from the tree. I appreciate that.
Yeah, because they shoot the fire out of there just for the effects, and then I think you got a shot of him up. Here we go, and this is what Ed does. In the stagecoach. And this harkens back to the old days of drag racing.
Old school
drag racing when you had wheel standards, the wide variety
Ed Jones
of wheel
and
standards.
Bill Shrewsbury, all that. This is what I saw when I was a kid. So this is what we used to be able. But he's got the plates, but there's so much rubber on the racetrack now. You don't get the sparks.
You don't get the sparks.
But you get the wheel stand.
And then, Chris, we have a wheel stand by Nostalgia Funny Car, which you don't want. And there's the General Lee. Tom loved that. You just go ahead and show that one video.
Of that, he's in his 80s. That's pretty cool to see. So,
that's good. And here's the wheel stand, and this is kind of that not on purpose.
Yeah, that's Stephen Dincham.
Stephen Dincham there.
That wasn't planned.
That wasn't planned. I had to lift off of that. These were planned.
Yes, those were planned. I'll tell you what, though, when Stephen did that, I mean, they didn't plan that, and that was during qualifying. And Gary walked off just laughing. He couldn't believe that car did that. So,
because
it was just cool to see, for all of us. But they, back to the drawing board. That's why we're here. So.
And it wasn't the greatest thing. This is a guy that's won a March meet and been in the finals with Steven, and it wasn't. I think he went out second round, first round.
I think it was first.
It was first round, which is looking at the results.
Kind of rare for them.
If you want to look, there's so many cars. This is the result sheets here.
It's a book.
It's a book. This is what you get.
And that's all on our website.
The runs. You can tell who went first round and stuff. You can go on their website and see
it's
it.
All
see where
there.
lost.
PDF file. Go down the whole.
It's a great encyclopedia.
A little bit of reading.
So it's there, but go ahead and show the slide now, Chris. We got this coming up this week. You had the March meet.
We're going to do it again this weekend.
You can do it again with the Summit Racing Series 1 and 2, Open Test and 2. Now talk a little bit about the Summit Series. Some of these cars that were out here for the March meet.
Yes.
We'll be racing in this.
Absolutely. Yeah. Now, March meet is a non-electronics race, but now, so those guys can jump in our sportsman or our pro categories, which are non-electronics. Our super pro has the onboard electronics, all the delay boxes and all that. So, they'll be back out this weekend again. Several of them will be, and then again in 2 weeks. And then in April, we'll run ANRA, and all those guys will come back. So it's... we're on, man. It's going.
I think gates open at 7 on Saturday, 8 on Sunday. You guys will be racing about 9, 10 both days.
Down the track at 10 on Saturday and 9 a.m. on Sunday.
And get down there, get it done. And
go watch hockey.
Okay.
Got to get a hockey plug in there.
That's true.
Saturday night, anyway.
Saturday night hockey.
I'll be there Friday night, too.
Friday night, Bakersfield Condors. Okay, thanks for coming in.
You bet.
And we'll see you next week. We'll be talking about the Summit Racing Series.
We'll have some results.
We'll be back in a minute with Bakersfield Speedway.